We're not just these blue collar people who work until from the time we're 18 until we're in a grave. We're professionals, just like you're professionals. It's not until we do that that people are going to really start valuing what we do as more than just labor. Good morning, everyone. You know what day it is? It's midweek day. For me, it's Tuesday. I normally record these on Tuesday. We have some changes coming up, which I'll be recording on a different day. So I'm looking to get ahead of it, get a few in the bank. I just got back we just got back from visiting Anderson last week out in Bayport. I actually today, you could see the steam coming off of this. Hold on, let's see if the camera can catch it. It's tough to see. But I am drinking coffee that they got made for us that's called the Bayport Blend, and it's in Anderson packaging, and it's pretty good. So thanks to Anderson for the coffee. You can also probably tell that I am a little bit sick. Yeah, it is good. Everyone in my house is sick right now. We were traveling. I generally get sick when I get on planes. I'm sure you guys recall that from podcast earlier with when we went to visit the Festool factory. So I'm a little under the weather, but we will get through it. Speaking of weather, I don't know if the rest of the country is having incredibly warm, beautiful springtime weather right now, but we are. Last week was spring break for my kids while I was away, so my wife took them up to my in-laws' lake house up in the Catskills area of New York, and they had some very warm weather where my kids were actually jumping in the lake that was 49 degrees. I think Rachel, my wife, jumped in too. I'm glad that I'm not there because I would have been the one that had to jump in the 49-degree water with them. 100% would have been me, and my wife would have been able to scoot out of that. But she had to do that. So thanks, Rach, for taking the hit on that one while I was out in Minnesota, being wined and dined. No, we had a really good trip. I enjoyed it. It was nice. Everyone was wonderful. Really enjoyed ourselves. It was a really nice area. I didn't realize where their factory was, how nice it was. But I have a separate podcast that I'll get into that trip as well. So this one is a little bit of a different direction. Let me see here. Yeah, so you're gonna have to deal with my voice being a little bit off. Not that I have the most amazing radio voice as is, but I am a little bit under the weather here. But at least we have some nice weather in New Jersey. So when we were out at Anderson, we sat down with their CEO, Chris Galvin, and Nick and myself had a conversation with him. And we were talking a little bit about what we can do to change our industry and the overall health of our industry. And while having this conversation, I had a little bit, I felt this before and I've thought about it before, but sitting down with somebody who has a very white collar job, who was involved with finance and business relations, and it's a very different experience of the industry than myself or Nick has had. And speaking with him, I realized that a lot, and this has nothing to do with him, it's just in conversation, this angle kind of came up. And I was thinking while we were having this conversation about the hustle and grind culture that surrounds our industry, um, a lot of blue collar industries. And I love the support. I love the heritage of blue collar. I love the hustle. Um, I really, I do love it, and it's something that I did for a long time. You guys know all the catchphrases, right? It's the blue collar hustle. It's sleep when you're dead. My hands look like this so that hers can look like that. Dirty hands, clean money. I love the passion. I love the work ethic, the sentiment. But I realize that I think we need to be marketing our industry and supporting our industry in a little bit of a different way. I believe that there's a better way that we can attract people, we can retain people, and we can create a really profitable, lucrative, sustainable career path for people who want to get into this, regardless of age. But obviously, we're all considering next generation. Um, so the issue that I have with the blue collar hustle, and this is something that I did for years. I started my business when I was 23, and until I was around 35, when I got sick a couple of times from working too much, this is what I did. I worked every day. I busted my stones. I worked long hours. I'd come home from being on the job and I would work more. I'd do paperwork. I'd go on estimates. I'd do design work. And this was my badge of honor. This is where I found my self-worth. This is where I found my business worth. And I realized that this probably isn't really a good angle to attract people to come work for me or to work for our industry. So let's paint a picture of what this blue collar hustle looks like. Basically, what we're doing is we are drawing a very distinct line between what we do as blue collar and what people do as white collar. We are creating a larger disparity between professional white collar and blue collar. We're saying, hey, we're blue collar. We work with our hands. We work hard. We have the guts to do it. We have the strength to do it, the determination to do it. And we are not white collar, which is perfectly fine. As I'm doing this, you can see my calluses and my filthy hands and fingernails. Which I'm very proud of being blue collar. I love that I have calluses. I love that my hands are rough. My wife does not like guys with very clean, dainty, soft hands. And I'm very proud of what I do. I'm proud of working with my hands, but I want to be respected for what I do. I don't want to create this disparity between blue and white collar where it's my punk rock way of sticking it to the man, right? Where it's like, I'm not white collar. I work with my hands. I'm a grunt. I'll suffer through this because, excuse me, if we're looking to attract and retain people, if we're looking to be considered professionals in our industry, and our badge of honor or our claim to fame is that we just had the determination to be grunts and to work hard, and our calluses and our bumps and our bruises and our sore back are the defining characteristic of that. Who the heck's going to want to come work for us? Who's going to want to get into the trades? The other big calling is that you can save money and not be educated. I I don't That's not how I want to bring people into our industry, that hey, you can save money by not being educated and bust your stones and make a good living and you're still going to be blue collar. Um I would rather have education. I would rather be considered a professional um than create this distinction where, hey, we're uneducated, we work hard, and we're going to take your money because you don't want to do this. So I don't think that we need to prove our self-worth by differentiating ourselves from white collar individuals, the path that they chose in life. Um, we as blue collar or as construction workers, auto workers, production line workers, whatever it may be, we have a talent, we have skills, we have drive and discipline that is very unique to what we do. Uh, we we are able to do what we do not just because we work hard, but because we're talented and because we're driven and because we are devoted to our trade. And that has nothing to do with our formal education. That has nothing to do with not being white collar. This is where we find success in life. And that's what I believe we should be celebrating. We should be celebrating what we do, our ability, our knowledge, rather than our calluses and our lack of sleep. So the demand for the demand for the respect for ourselves begins and ends with us. Um, we're creating this narrative, and we're getting shirts made that basically say we're blue collar, we're proud of it, we don't want to be white collar, and I just don't feel that that's the move, because what we should be promoting is what we have an ability to do, and the years that we put into these trades, and our devotion to the trades, and how we treat our customers, and the professionalism, the training that right now is not in place that we should be looking in place. Our angle shouldn't be, hey, you don't need an education. It could be, hey, you don't need the formal college education, but you should still have an education and training to be into the trades. If all we can offer to people is that you don't have to go to college, we're not pulling the amount of people that we potentially could be pulling, and the top tier people, because we're just not offering them that much. We're not selling ourselves as anything other than people who are outcasts, who are black sheep, who took a different path in life, and we're so much different than you. I don't I, I for a long time I worked 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, and that made me money. But when I look back at it, it was I was working those hours to offset inefficiencies within my business, or me pricing a job incorrectly. Um, it wasn't because this is just what I want to do. I really, for a long time, I thrived on stress. I thrived on anxiety, deadlines, my physical strength, the lack of sleep, and my worth was tied to this. The greatest compliment I could ever get on any job was, "Hey, you guys work really hard," or "You guys work really long days." This was my badge of honor. I never felt more proud of myself than when I heard people say that. And I do think it's really important to work hard in whatever you do in life, but to define yourself as a business, um, to attribute your success to just hustling and grinding and putting in longer hours than other people are looking to do, is not the way to make money. It's not the way to attract people into our industry, and it's not the way to promote the trades. Um, I know that there's an entrepreneurial attitude and spirit in the whole Gary V that has promoted this for a long time as well. So it's not just construction, but the idea to sleep when you're dead and work your whole life away, it's really good to be driven. And most successful people in life are very driven. But our industry has equated working more hours to being more successful, and seeing how other people do things, I've realized that there's other ways to make money, and there's other ways to be more successful than just beating the shit out of yourself day in and day out until, from the time you're 18 until the time where you're ready to be put in a box and buried underground. There's other ways to differentiate yourself. There's ways to market your business in a sense that really thrives on professionalism, experience, your craft, and the skill set that you have, that I think is more important than what we're doing. And the point of this blog post and this podcast really is to somewhat shed light on the fact that we should somewhat cancel this whole hustle and grind culture. And that's not to say that we should not hustle and grind, but to promote that as that's what defines what we do, I don't think is self-serving, and I don't think is going to attract people to our industry. And I really want you guys and girls, if you have the chance, to hop online and read my written blog post of this, because the way that I crafted that is going to be different than the way that I am articulating it now. I think that it's more thorough. It's a more flowing and a more eloquent manner, and it makes more sense than me kind of spitting off what's coming to mind right now. But it of all the blog posts and all the podcasts that I've done so far, this is one that I'm really proud of and that I'm really excited. And as I was writing it, I I I almost had to draw the line and stop at a certain point because there were so many issues and concerns and topics that I wanted to hit on, but I didn't want to elongate this. I did want it to be somewhat terse and to the point and deliberate. Um, so I really, really, if you guys can, hop online and read this written blog post. I'm really proud of this one. Um, it took a lot for me to share this. Excuse me, my cold setting in again. It took a lot for me to share this, to write this, and to talk about this in a way through failures that I've had, and through experiences that I have learned over the course of the past 14 years or so of owning my business. Um, so on the blog post, I write a scenario, and this is the picture that I want to paint is not necessarily the building industry, but um, let's think of it from an auto technician, a mechanic for lack of a better word, but somebody who works on cars or trucks. And you think of a I'm going to have two separate businesses. One is going to be owner operator, maybe a helper, and he has an older shop. It's what he can afford. He doesn't necessarily charge enough to be able to afford new equipment, new technology. He works so hard. Um, he has older mechanics, clothes, boots that are beat up. He has the calluses, always oil and dirty rags. Um, he's sweating it out and he's getting through these projects, but he does not have the time, the money, or the resources to reinvest in the business and get out from under himself. Meaning he's paying his bills and he's supporting himself, but it all comes one job at a time. It all comes 1 hour at a time. And he gets through all of these projects, but it's difficult for him. He does he's learning on the fly. He doesn't have the technology to be figuring out what's wrong with these vehicles. A lot of times it's trial and error. It's throwing parts at these cars. He always gets through it, but it may take twice as long as he thought. um, it may be a lot harder than he thought. It may take twice as many parts as he thought. And at the end of the day, he feels badly about this. And he's not necessarily charging what he could have for the amount of time that he put into it because he he didn't necessarily take the right path or the most educated path. He was just in it, working, and he made up for his lack of technology and lack of innovation for just putting his head down and being that typical blue collar worker that's grinding it out. Now you have another shop that has people working for them, that has made enough money to invest in technology and computers and testing and systems and lifts that make their job a lot easier, more efficient, and less physically demanding on them. Um, so the shop has a dress code. They get their clothes washed. Everyone comes in clean uniforms every day. um, they have a waiting room for people who are getting service done. They have a really quick turnaround. They have all of the equipment and the testing tools to figure out exactly what needs to be done to each vehicle without throwing parts at it. So their technicians aren't necessarily beating themselves up as much. There's less frustration, and they are utilizing innovation, technology, tools, and systems to make their lives easier, to be more productive, to be more efficient, and make more money at the end of the day. Um, I look at this from two different perspectives. Excuse me. You have the more professional shop, and then you have the shop that's really just grinding it out and making do with what they have. And from an employee retention, let's put money aside, or an attraction standpoint of employees. Say that there's a career day at school, and you're at a trade school, and you're going to take your students to a few different auto shops around, and these are two shops that you bring them to. What shop do you feel would be more of an attraction to these students walking in to see? The guy who crawls out from under the truck, he has dirt, dust, and debris, oil all over himself. He looks tired, run down. There's no AC in the shop. He's sweating it out on a creeper, really run down, frustrated with whatever is going on, and has a line of vehicles outside that he just doesn't have the money to either hire people or pay for the innovation. Is this the shop that these young men and women are going to walk into and say, hey, that's what I want to do for a living? Um, Even if he's making good money, right? He's affording a lifestyle. He has everything that he needs in life. Is the attraction that, hey, you can look like him and you can bust your stones and you'll make good money, but this is going to be your life every single day. To me, that's what this blue collar heritage and the hustle and grind culture is promoting, that hey, we are not white collar. We chose to work with our hands. We chose to have dirt underneath our fingernails, and this is how we make our money, and I can afford a lifestyle, but this is what I do and I'm proud of it. There's I want you to be proud of everything that you're doing, but in this situation, I would not be showcasing how beat up I am, how tired I am, how sweaty I am, and how hard this work is to be attracting or retaining people within my business. We load up the classroom, everyone goes to the new shop. They walk into the garage doors are down, it's a conditioned space, everything's clean, there's new tools, they have computers. The employees are working very smart. They're not as beat up, they're not as dirty. Um, they're making a decent pay, they have benefits, and there's a system in place that they can work their way up if they want to. You know, it's not a one man shop. There's other people there. They can work from a laborer to a technician to a service manager, and there's room for growth there. Um, Maybe they're making a little less than the guy who owns his shop, but there's room to grow. And if at some point you want to start your own shop, obviously this can be a stepping stone towards getting there. But when these students walk in and they say, hey, the shop's clean, it's conditioned, we have pay, we have benefits, we have room for growth, and we're working in a very professional environment. To me, that's the selling point there. That's the attraction, that's the retention. These young men and women who see this shop are going to say, "Hey, this is what I want for myself. When I think of working with my hands, I want to be proud of working with my hands. I want to work on cars. I don't want to sit in an office, but I also don't want to just kill myself every day. I don't want to go home sweaty and tired and dirty clothes with oil all over myself. Um, I want to be a professional within the trades. And this to me is what we need to do to attract these people. It needs to be less of promoting the hustle and grind and the cuts and the bumps and the bruises and the calluses. And hey, we're going to take money from these white collar people who don't want to work on their cars, and that's going to go in our pockets, and we'll be able to afford our lifestyle. Again, I'm not judging either one of these scenarios. I'm not saying that one person is better than the other, one person is worse than the other, one shop's better, one shop's worse. I'm just looking at it from a growth perspective, from an attraction perspective, from a professionalism perspective. And I think that being able to walk into a shop where everything's new, it's clean, you're using new technology, you're working an 8-hour day, you're not required to work 12-hour days. There's systems in place and room for growth. This is what's going to make these young men and women say, "Hey, I could do this for a career. I could get done my training, my education in the trades, and then I can progress through a career and I don't have to worry about killing myself." This shop is going to have to charge probably more money to offset the overhead. But if we have more shops like this, that's going to become the norm. And this is not that much different than thinking of residential construction. My business, you're a small company, one or two people working for you. You can't afford everything. You can sustain a lifestyle for yourself, but you may not be able to afford to pay an employee what they could make at a bigger company that has a higher overhead. You may not be able to afford them a truck. You may not be able to afford them insurance, health benefits, 401k, but that's because we've created this. We've created um, the lifestyle, the disparity between white and blue collar. And you look at 100 years ago, where the framer or the plumber or the cabinet maker, the carpenter, they were well respected individuals. They weren't looked at as being lower than somebody who was an accountant or somebody who worked in an office. They weren't promoting their trade by saying, "Hey, we'll do something that you don't want to do and we'll work harder at it and take the money out of your pockets." No, they took pride in what they were doing. They took pride in their craft. They took pride in the fact that this was passed down from 1, 2, 3 generations before them. And they grew up learning this and they practiced and they made mistakes. And yeah, they have bumps and they have calluses and blisters and they're tired at the end of the day, but they have a craft that they are really good at. And that's what they're promoting. They're not promoting, "Hey, we're different than you. We don't want to be who you are, and we're going to take your money." They're promoting that, "Hey, this is the path that we chose in life, and we will work hard, but we are respected individuals who carry ourselves with integrity and professionalism, and we deserve to be compensated for that." Excuse me. um, so that's my point with creating these two scenarios here. I don't Everyone has to work hard no matter what you're doing. Um, Especially if you own your own business. A lot of times there's going to be long days involved. I don't want to say that you're going to start your own business and you'll be able to clock in at 9, clock out at 5, turn your phone off, and that's going to be it. There's a certain point in your life where you have to work hard and you have to really put your nose to the grindstone and work through and push through. There's going to be days that you have to work 14-hour days, but that should not be your worth. That should not be what you're bringing to the table. That should not be your value. I should not get fulfillment from somebody saying, "Hey, you guys work really long days." I shouldn't be making money by working 14 hours a day and getting 8 hours of work done because of inefficiencies or because I undercharged the job. I should structure my business that I can work 8 hours a day and make a decent living, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever it may be. But 50 hours a week, 40 hours a week, just like most other people. And you should be able to figure out how to make a living. It shouldn't just be about, "Hey, we work Saturdays, Sundays, we're self employed, so there's no limit to how much we work." We need to structure our businesses differently and we need to create a different image within our industry and within the blue collar industry. And I think that we need to focus less on what makes us different from white collar and what makes us different from businessmen and women to what makes us the same. When I look at a doctor's office, or you look at an accountant's office, or you look at a business professional's office and what makes them successful. Yeah, it's hard work. Everyone has to work hard. But are they promoting the fact that they're putting in 80-hour work weeks and the business work that they do and the development that they do and the engineering that goes into it is just stuff that the blue collar guys don't want to do. No, they're saying, hey, we've worked really hard to develop these systems, these processes. We have a formal education that backs all of this. We've invested in ourselves and our companies, and we're doing something that is difficult to do, but we've invested the time and energy in doing it. They're not promoting that it's just hard work that differentiates themselves from us. Yeah, it's hard work. Everyone has to work hard. They're playing to their strong points. Um, whether that is um, mental or physical, they're playing to their strong points. And that's what's important to me when I think of marketing a carpentry company, when I think of marketing a remodeling company, when I think of marketing just for the blue collar trade work in general. It should be we should be highlighting and showcasing different things that we are. And I am very proud of working with my hands. I'm very proud that my hands are rough and they're beat up and that I have scars and bumps and bruises to show for my hard work, because I do get fulfillment out of working hard. But if that's what I'm communicating on my social, if that's what I'm communicating on my website, if that's what I'm communicating to potential hires, who am I going to get to come work for me? It's going to be somebody else who says, I'm going to stick it to the man, screw these white collar people. I can put my head down and I can work 12 hours a day and I don't need sleep and I'm just going to grind it out. And I'd rather do that than sit in an office or push paper all day. And that's the wrong attitude to have. We need to start marketing professionalism. We need to start marketing and putting more emphasis on how much experience we have, how much effort mentally we have put into learning our trade. When you were young and when you were just starting off, if you didn't have a network of people to teach you what to do, you went home and you went online and you read, you bought books, you went and took a course, you enrolled in a course online, you went and you went to trade school. That's what you should be marketing. The fact that you are devoted to this career, you're devoted to becoming the best pipe fitter that you can be, the best HVAC technician, the best plumber, the best framer, that you are committed to your trade, to your craft. And this has nothing to do with white collar people and the path that they chose in life. This has to do with you. Why are you in the trades? Why did you elect to become a carpenter? Why did you elect to become an electrician? We have to let go of the fact that I didn't want to be in an office. And that was something that I chose. That's the initial um really determining factor that got me into the trades, is that I didn't want to work in an office. But I can only ride that wave for so long. There has to be something else that retains me and pushes me and strives me to be better every single day. And that's what we need to be promoting within the trades and within the blue collar industry. It can't be the filth, it can't be the sweat, it can't be the tears, it can't be the fact that nobody else wants to be doing what we're doing. Because if that's the differentiator and that's what's separating us, we're putting a cap on how much we can charge. We're putting a cap on how far we can grow in business, because you're basically saying anyone can do this. We're just choosing to do it and we can work harder than you. That, to me, is not how we're going to support our trades and retain our employees and attract the next generation of people. Um, we've always said on the podcast that you need to create an environment where people can grow, where they have opportunity, where it's not just about hard work. There has to be fun, there has to be learning, there has to be room for growth there. And if we can look to what white collar careers are doing, white collar businesses are doing, larger construction firms are doing, where they're setting up a more professional environment. And that doesn't have to be that it's regimented, because I understand a lot of people don't want to get into those professions because They don't want to have to go through the red tape and the political BS that goes along with that. That's not how you have to structure your business. But having opportunities for healthcare, having opportunities to have paid vacation, um, to have uh, 401k, retirement, and growth, a career path within a business is really, really important. And if we look at what other businesses do, and most of these are more professional businesses, more white collar businesses, and we look at how they are attracting people, um, that's what we need to integrate into our businesses. And whether that's, hey, we can pay you more. Hey, you don't have to work so hard. Hey, this is your career path. You're going to start here. You're going to get this training and this education, and then you're going to be at this level. And then if you stay here for this many years and you prove to be successful, and these are the metrics by which we measure that, then you get promoted to this level. Here's your pay rate at that level. That's what we need to do for our industry. And we need to work towards that. And we need to get rid of the differentiation and the disparity between white and blue collar. And we need to say, hey, we're professionals too. What we do is very professional. And you need to carry yourself in that way. And as soon as we start doing that, we will be able to start charging more money, because it's not, at this point, it's not, hey, we're doing this because you don't want to. And these customers are going to say, well, if they're doing what I can do, I just simply don't want to. There's only going to be so much that they're willing to pay you. And as you increase your rate, at some point they're going to say, hey, there's nothing special about what they do. I can go hire this guy 2 doors down who does it for less, or I could do it myself. All I need is to buy a lawnmower. Um, if that's all we offer, then they're going to find the next guy who's going to do it for less, or they're going to end up doing it themselves because they don't see value there. But if we offer a more professional experience, um, if we offer a more white glove experience, if we offer a warranty or a care package after the fact, if we start offering a better experience, a more comprehensive experience that these people are not willing to do. And it's not just a matter of hard work. It's right. Hey, we don't have the systems in place to do this. We don't have the tooling. Did you see the dust extractor that they use? I'm not going to spend 700-800 bucks on that and a sander. I would rather hire the handyman who has all of that, who's invested in that. Right? He's going to charge me 400 bucks to do a repair that's going to take him 2 hours. I would rather pay him that than myself go buy a $600 vacuum, go on YouTube, look up how to do the repair. If you're the same handyman and you're offering to do the repair for 200 bucks, and you're coming in and you're not putting down site protection and you don't have an extractor and you're leaving dust all over, the next time the person's just going to say, hey, I saw what he did. All he had was a spackle blade and a bucket of spackle. I can do that for $200. But when you have this situation where the guy comes in and he sets up site protection and he uses a sander attached to a dust extractor and he gets it done in 2 hours because he's using hot mix, and then walks out of there, that same person's going to say, whoa, I saw what he did. I saw everything that he came prepared with. I saw the tools that he used, and he was out of here in no time, and he didn't leave a speck of dust anywhere. He's not going to say, oh, he charged me $400 for that. It wasn't worth it. He's going to say, I saw everything that he invested in that. I saw how quickly he got it done, how professional he got it done. I can't compete with that. I can't do that as a homeowner. I would pay him $400 every single day to not have to deal with that. Or I would rather pay him $200 more than the guy who came in and made a mess of my house and made 3 trips back waiting for spackle to dry. So these are the things that we need to be doing to differentiate ourselves, to be professionals in this industry, to take pride in what we do. It's not just taking pride in our calluses and our back that hurts. It's taking pride in being a craftsman and taking pride in your business and taking care of your employees and taking care of your customers. And to me, it's letting go of the blue collar hustle grind mentality where all we have to offer people is that we can outwork them. Because if that's it, that's all you're ever going to be. It's not until you have an ability to show that you have more to offer than working hard and being a grunt that people are going to see you on a different level and be willing to pay you more and to value your skill set. So that's the point of this podcast for me. It's not to say that the guy starting out doing the spackle repair who can't afford the extractor is better or worse than anyone else. It's not to say that 75% of the contractors who cannot afford to give an employee healthcare or benefits, I'm not looking down on you. I'm not I'm not judging you. This is more about everyone else than you. It's the industry and the businesses that we've created. It's the economy that does not support that type of work because our trades are not viewed as a profession, as something that somebody's choosing to get into to hone their craft to be the best craftsman or craftswoman they can be. Right now, it's viewed as a very low barrier to entry, as um, a very physical trade, as hey, they weren't smart enough to go to college, they didn't have the ambition to go to college, they didn't have the network of people to be successful in any other industry, so this is where they landed. And we've created that, our economy has created that, our society has created that, and we need to change that. And that starts with us because nobody's going to give us a handout. And I think that the sooner that we relinquish the hustling grind mentality and we start treating ourselves as professionals and we start treating our employees as valuable assets to our business, the sooner that that's going to change. And the companies that are in an area that are maybe trade work is more valuable than other areas or other geographic locations, it starts with us. And the more that we can do to help this spread to other areas of the country where or the world where it's not as valuable and people are not willing to pay as much, it's going to rub off on them. And these people are going to have an opportunity to be charging a little bit more money and making a little bit more money and possibly working less time every week or every day because they're able to make a little bit higher profit margins. Um, so again, this is not passing judgment. This is not saying what I do is better than what anyone else does, or a bigger company is better because they have more overhead and they could charge more. No, it's just about having more integrity and more dignity, carrying ourselves in a certain way, and approaching what we do with a more professional mindset and a more bringing more value to our industry and what we do than hard work. And everyone has to work hard. We do. But that should not be what defines us as contractors, as tradespeople, as auto technicians, whatever it may be. You shouldn't be replaceable. It shouldn't your business shouldn't be, hey, what they do is the same as what somebody else does, so let's go find the cheaper person. It should be, hey, they are so professional. They are timely. They execute to the level that they say they are going to. They show up when they say they're going to. We're going to hire them. And we don't care if they're a little bit more money. We're going to hire them for what they do because they're very professional. And once people understand the value of that and not just being able to bring hard work, sweat, and tears to the table, the entire industry is going to benefit. Do your part as much as you can. Try and implement little changes. It's something that I've done over the past 2 years. I've always looked to market myself as being able to do something different, but I I really suffered a lot in doing so. And what I thought I was doing, and the pricing that I had on jobs and the way I was marketing myself, at the end of the day, I still was not, I was doing more than I should have for the price that I was getting. And I've had to learn and I've had to pull the reins back and force myself to work less and figure out how I can make more doing that, instead of having the mindset where I need to make more, I need a new car, and I'm just going to work more hours. I'm just going to, for this week, I'm going to do 60 hours a week for the next 4 weeks so that I can afford this. No, I want to maintain 40 hours a week and figure out how I can make more to afford that without putting in more hours. And that's the mindset that I've had to adopt, and I've tried to figure out how to get there, and it hasn't been easy, and it's been a learning experience for me, but it's doable. And part of that has been through hard work. Part of that's been through exclusivity and different marketing tactics and reducing sizes of jobs, um, offsetting income in certain ways, and looking for different career opportunities. But everyone has an opportunity to do that. So that's my suggestion. I'm gonna get off of my high horse and my stool now. I hope that this comes off as me looking to help everyone as much as possible within this industry. I don't want to see anyone struggling to make a dollar. I don't want to see anyone not being able to spend time with their kids. I don't want anyone to feel as though they are lesser than somebody who went to college or who is more educated or has a white collar career path because this is a path that you took. Um, I want you to be proud of everything that you put into this, to the blood, to the sweat and the tears, to your hands, to how hard you work. But I also want you to be compensated for that. If you're working 80 hours a week and that's what you choose to do, great. But I want you to be compensated for that. I don't want you to be working 80 to be able to bring in 60 hours worth of work. Um, I want you to understand that what you do is not easy. Not everyone can do this. It's not just because you took an easier path than everyone else and you're going to make up for it through brute strength and determination and will and grit. I want you to throw all that shit out the window and say, hey, I do what I do because it's what I chose to do, and I do it really well. And I know that the people I'm working for cannot do what I do without the years of experience, the formal training, the education, and everything, all these bumps, bruises, and calluses. They can't do this. They can't. They would, and if they think that they can go on YouTube and they can look it up, it's not going to be what I do. And as soon as we all adopt that mindset and really take pride in what we are doing and say, hey, we're not just these blue collar people who work until from the time we're 18 until we're in a grave. We're professionals just like you're professionals. It's not until we do that that people are going to really start valuing what we do as more than just labor. So I hope that all of you can do that. It takes a long time. You're going to have to integrate certain things into what you're doing, but I think that if we structure ourselves differently and structure our businesses differently and just our mentality behind the trades, that we're going to be able to really attract people into this industry. Our customers are going to realize how valuable what we do is and how much training and knowledge and skill it takes to do what we're doing, and they're going to be willing to pay more for that. And I hope that within our generation, the next generation, that we really start making a change, and this is a more lucrative career path where you're not just beating yourselves up. That would be my goal for everyone. That would be my goal for myself if my children decided to get into this, that when people see what they're doing, they really value it and they're willing to pay for that. And they understand that you getting a certain type of work done in your house is really no different than when you go to a doctor, when you pick an accountant, that accountant does something different than the accountant next door, that they're the best accountant that you can afford for the money, that doctor is going to give you the best service that they can because of their training and their experience and how much they've committed to what they're doing. And I want people to view our trades that way. So again, please hop on, read this blog post. It's different than the podcast. I get into a lot of different things, and I really hope that it serves as a foundation for all of what we're doing to support your growth, to support your confidence, to support um, you being able to be prideful of what you're doing without just saying, "Hey, I work harder than you." And that's all that I did for a long time. And I felt that I outlearned people and I outworked people. And I'm at the point now that I'm 37 and I've been in business 14 years and I have a family, and I don't want to be defined by outworking people anymore. I want people to come to me and be like, "Hey, I really value everything that you've learned, the commitment that you've put into this, and we want to hire you because we see that." And I want that for everyone else because it's much easier doing what I'm doing now than what I did 14 years ago, that did 10 years ago, that shoot what I did 3 years ago. I'm in a better position mentally, physically, financially, and that makes my life better. That makes my children's lives better. That makes my wife's life better. And I want that for everyone. And I'm not gonna be rich for doing this. I'm not gonna retire when I'm 45. I'm fine with that. I understand all of that. But I I can see myself going through the trades in this way where I looked at 5 years ago and I'm like, how am I gonna last till I'm 60? How am I gonna? It was really difficult to see. So I hope that you guys get to experience that. I really do want that for everyone. And I have good days and bad days. They're better now than they've been. And I think that we all owe it to ourselves and the young men and women who want to get into the trades to uphold a certain standard, and really speak to who we are and what we do and our capacity and our talents and our skill rather than just our determination and grit. So that's it. Thank you, as always, to our sponsors, to all of our listeners. Please hop on the website, check out these blogs, check out the normal podcast when it drops. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks here, I start feeling better. I'm tired of being sick. Um, but as always, I appreciate all you guys reaching out. I've been getting a ton of emails. I've had a ton of consulting calls that people have reached out to. I really enjoy what I'm doing with this podcast. And a lot of that is because of you guys and girls and the engagement, the calls that you're scheduling. uh, it really helps me out. If I was just sitting in front of a computer and talking to you and there was no engagement and no reciprocation there, I would get pretty bored of this pretty quickly. But it's really been fruitful for me, and I'm getting a lot of gratification out of it. And seeing that what I'm doing is helping you gain perspective, learn from my mistakes, or just giving you a positive outlook on that day, whatever it may be. It's really nice to hear from you guys and girls, and I appreciate it. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and I will catch you guys next week.